That's no story every Saturday morning. Here I am. Good morning. Good morning. Drop in the comments where you're coming in from. If you're watching live, comment live. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. The way you know if you're live is there is a little box up there. I think it's right up there. It's red and it says live. So if you see that, please comment live. I love to know who's watching, what time they're watching. I am so excited about today's message. And believe it or not, just about an hour ago, I was scratching my head like, what is today's message? I mean, it's the second week of January. And so many people, they set goals on the first day of the year, the first day of the month, the first day of the week. And they're so excited and they're going to crush their goals. And then halfway through the week, halfway through the month, it'll be halfway through the year. People are like, dang, I really had good intentions. You know, they always say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I'm not saying anything about that road. I'm just saying we all have good intentions. But in life, things have a tendency to not happen. And it's up to me and you to make things happen. So today I went live on all the pages. You may be watching this on my author page, on my business page, on my personal page. Maybe it's on the Dave and Barb Pitcock page. This message is so important and it's just incredibly generic that I think the entire world needs to hear it. So I'm going to challenge you right now. Tag a friend, share this on your wall. We're about to light up the world that listens to this message because every single one of us has dreams and goals. And the reality is fear is the problem. Nothing else produces more failure than the fear of failure. It freezes people before they even start, or they get started and then they stop and they start and they stop and they start and they stop and they overthink it and they need a filter. They got to clean their kitchen. They got to get ready, always waiting on something. And I will tell you, in 1998, one of my best-selling albums ever, it was on audio cassettes. And then later it was on CDs. Some of you probably have it. You could probably drop a picture of it in the comments. It was called Action Cures Fear. And I was about maybe a 27-year-old girl. And I had had a lot of success. And then all the things started crumbling. And the company that we were top producers in started to go through just a terrible chapter. Let's just say it was a terrible chapter. And I was not going to dismount. I was loyal till the end. I was riding that horse. Even when it was a dead horse, I was still beating the horse. I was like, I'm not a quitter. And then one day we realized this company is no longer going to be a company. And Dave and I were like, what in the heck just happened? How many of you have ever been a part of something where you're moving and you're grooving and you're like, this is it? I have arrived. And then like, you feel like you're on the Titanic. It is literally like nothing you can do. It wasn't your fault. You thought this was the way, the truth, the life. You were going to be here forever. And then all of a sudden you're like, And you know, the reality is I've done this before. I remember one year we were at a dance competition and I owned several dance schools and I love to nurture people and contribute. So I would be the girl that would like go get a coffee for everyone. And every teacher, even the ones that didn't drink coffee, be like, I brought you something, right? So I went in my maps and we were in Oklahoma City and I put in Starbucks and I drove 20 minutes one way. There wasn't a lot of them back then. This is probably like 2008 or so. And I'm going to get everybody one. And I get there and it's like an empty building and there is no longer a sign. It obviously didn't make it. I only have so long to get back before the girls are going on stage. And I have two choices, like show up in empty-handed and I failed, go find another one and risk that I'm going to miss the performance. Like I didn't know what to do, but what I couldn't do was deny that there was no longer a Starbucks in that building. And if I was going to produce, if I was going to hit my goal, I had to reroute, pivot, find a way. I couldn't be like the dumb, stupid Starbucks. Why did they have to close? I couldn't be like, maps was wrong. They need to update. This is so stupid. I couldn't call 3 people and say, hey guys, I just got here and it's not here. I'm sorry, I'm a failure. I had to find a way to hit my goal. And I know that's a stupid analogy, but some of you are so afraid to hit reroute. You're so afraid to pivot. You're so afraid to just try something new because you're so used to being so comfortable, and you're afraid to get ready and say, go, right? So what I want to challenge all of you is, if you're afraid, you'll die in fear. You'll die broke. You'll die miserable. You'll die without achieving all your goals and dreams. And I remember the book I read from Les Brown, and he had this analogy that literally scared the shit out of me. And I'm sorry that I just said shit. I don't know how else to say it. I love the Lord. I'm sorry I cuss. If that offends you, I'm really sorry that I cussed. But I remember listening to Les Brown in 1997 in Chicago, Illinois, and he said, every single one of you have gifts that you were born with. And if you don't use them, you're going to lose them. He said, you got to have big dreams, like big dreams. He said, I was abandoned by a dumpster by my mother. I was learning disabled. I was in the special ed class. Nobody thought I could succeed, but I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had so much fear. I hated watching my mom be so poor cleaning houses. And you guys, at the time, my mom was a single mom cleaning for every rich person in Russell, living what should have been on food stamps, but she was too stubborn to do it. And he said, I had this dream that I was going to build my mom a house. And a light bulb went off in my head. Now, I never built my mom a house. She built her own house. She made her own millions. She's the queen of get back up and make it happen. But in 1997, Dave and I both had single moms. And Les Brown's message just really stirred me up. I was bouncing checks for baby formula. Dave literally got arrested for a $7 check on Brooklyn's second birthday, and Chance was one. Like, I look back on this story, fear would have produced more failure than anything else. We were labeled financial failure. We did not have a college education. We did not have a silver spoon in our mouth. We did not have a great reputation. We didn't have a lot of friends. We live in a town today, still the same little podunk town with a couple of stoplights and not much opportunity unless you make it. And we had everyone saying, what are they doing? They joined a pyramid scheme. They're selling snake oil. The guy that enrolled them has been to prison for credit card fraud. He's a fraud. Like, we had all obstacles against us. And you know what? Action cures fear was the motto. Every day that we did the right things long enough consistently, we knew even if we fail, we're going to get closer to our goal. And people today are just so lackadaisical. I feel like the internet and social media and Facebook and podcasts and all the things are there for us free. And Dave and I have rooms full of that we paid for. And you know what? You put the value on it exactly what you pay for it. When it's free, some of you just take it for granted. Like, it's there, it's free, I'll listen someday. No, I had to pay for this stuff. And when I paid for it, I listened to it. And when I listened to it and I had to choose between, do I buy groceries or a $79 album from Jim Rohn, or a $20 book from Les Brown, or a Dale Carnegie book for $12, or a Napoleon Hill for $15, or the Go-Getter for $20 because it was hardback, or the Magic of Thinking Big, which my mentor gave to me, Dave and I were like, not only are we going to listen, like, we're going to take action. And I want to tell you guys something. If God did it for me, he could do it for you. You won't take action. And so my message to you today is, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to just keep getting what you've been getting. And it's so hard for me to watch. This week, we were putting together a montage of 31 years in this industry, and Dave was listening to my little 25-year-old voice, and he was laughing. He was like, you were so cute back then. Like, you still say the same things. You're just meaner now. And I was like, meaner now? You know what it is, guys? It's conviction. I don't want you to die with the dreams in your heart, the talents that you were blessed with, all the gifts that you've been given. And that, I got sidetracked there. But that speech that Les Brown said in 1997, he said, some of you will be laying on your deathbed, and there's going to be these little, I don't remember if he said angels or ghosts or what he said, but he said, they're going to haunt you. They're going to haunt you saying, you should have wrote the book. You should have took the trip. You should have built the nonprofit. You should have wrote the letter. You should have went live. You should have started the podcast. You should have taken the risk on the business, because we're either going to die with the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. It's going to be one or the other. And you know what my tombstone is going to say? She did it all. She spent it all, right? That is the end. Like, I'm not leaving anything out there for chance. I'm so passionate about certain things that I cannot go through this life and not achieve them. Like, if I don't achieve them, I will not be able to live with myself. So if he did it for me, he can do it for you. Think about this. Who do you compare yourself to? Other people. You want what they have. You wish you could be where they are, but you don't believe that you can. I want you to dream of something so spectacular. So spectacular. And I want you to visualize it so much that if it doesn't happen, you're just going to be so disappointed. You're going to be so sad. You're going to be so like, I can't believe that didn't happen. So for me right now, I'll tell you a little one. I'm taking my grandkids to Universal. And the minute I said I was doing that, all these fires and things started happening. And like, there's so many reasons why people are like, you probably shouldn't go. But like, on my birthday, on March the 13th, I don't care if nobody else is there. If it's just me, as long as their parents will let them go with me, I'm taking them to Universal, because that's been their dream. Every time we talk, they've wanted to go. 4 years ago, we went to Disney. It didn't work out. We only got to take Lola. 3 years ago, we said we were going to go. Instead, we booked a trip to Hawaii Disney, because that way Callie could get proposed to and we could have a little bit of Disney at the same time. Last year, I think everyone knows, we were working so hard. We barely even have time for daily FaceTimes. But next year, this year, I'm taking them to Universal. Now, when I think of that, I dream of them seeing all their favorite characters. I dream of Knox saying, I want to get one of those Disney shakes on YouTube with 2 straws. Like, I don't even care if it's a $50 shake. He's getting one, because that's the dream. And I want you to ask yourself, what do you think of every day? If not for you, I mean, I don't have a ton of things that I dream of for me. I dream now of what I want to do for other people. And so as I've gotten older, it's harder to dream. The more success you have, the harder it is to find something that motivates you. It's not about the money anymore. It's about a mission for me, because I know where I was. I know how broken I was. I know the day that I married this bull rider. And let me tell you, he had gifts. I married this guy. I thought my life was going to look a certain way. It ended up not looking like that at all. I thought I was going to be a dancer. I was going to own dance schools. Dave was going to ride bulls. We were going to be at the NFR in Las Vegas. I was going to have a cute little hat and some tight jeans and the blingy belt. Like, how I saw myself as Dave Pitcock's wife was really nothing like it ended up to be, right? Like, when the cops show up at your door and they're like, Dave, you got to come with me. And we're like, can we please blow the candles out on the birthday cake first? And they're like, no. I mean, you all have that chapter where you've hit rock bottom. And I want you to ask yourself, when did you hit rock bottom? And the next question is like, are you still there, or are you going to get back up? Because you've got to get back up. God is in the make your dreams come true business. God is in the heal any sickness that you have business. God is in the forgive you for anything you feel guilty about business. He's also in the abundance business, where he'll show you the house to buy. He will give you the opportunity. He'll line up all the resources. Money, where money's coming from is none of your business. It shows up when you show up. And most people are playing small. They are not passionate about anything. And one thing I learned today, and I've never heard this, you guys, this was crazy. It was a Steve Harvey podcast I listened to this morning, and I love listening to him. But when I listen to him for a while, I start talking like him. And then I'm like not finishing my sentences or my words. So I'm going to try to be Bart Pitcock, not Steve Harvey. But he's so good. And he was talking about when he made a huge mistake at the pageant. And everyone said he was ruined. And his business and his career was over. And everyone was hating on him. And they were publishing bad about him. Like he was the canceled back in the day guy, right? But he said, you know, all I had to do was read Ephesians 3:20. So this morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go read this. So this is my favorite gift I got for Christmas. Dave's dad gave it to me. It was Dave's grandma's same initials. She was Betty Pitcock, Bart Pitcock. How cool is that? Grandpa Pitcock actually sewed the cover. That's real Leathersmith. Look at the top. Just look at that. Made by hand. But for some reason, when I opened this Bible, it sounds different than my Bible. I don't know if they were different 80 years ago or what, but I was literally like, I'm no Bible scholar. So I'm like, Dave, help me find this Ephesians 3:20, because I couldn't write down as fast as he was talking. And then I'm like, I can't even find it. Is it the old or the new? Let me tell you something, guys. I'm no Bible scholar. I don't even know where it's at or what it is or when it, like, I remember having to learn all the words to the New Testament because my grandma was that kind of a mentor. All the chapters, not the words. And we had to say them in Sunday school to like get a Kit Kat or something. But like, I don't even know where to find things. All I know is it's in there. And it's funny how when you open up and you start to read and it's in there, you think like, okay, that must be true because it says it in the Bible. But it went something like this. You guys can go look it up yourself. This was so profound to me. Ephesians 3:20 says something like, expect God to turn it around, like exceedingly and abundantly put you in the right place at the right time with people that will go out of their way for you. And I was like, like, wow, like, I guess I never heard that verse. But I think about our company and I think about the chapter that I was in 2 years ago yesterday. 2 years ago yesterday. This girl that's been in the industry for 30 years is feeling like I have this passion and I have this gift, but I felt like a flea that had a 36-inch vertical with a jar that had a lid that was about 4 inches. And every time I tried to jump, I just felt like I just kept hitting my head. And you know what happens? A flea, the tiniest thing, the tiniest insect, has the highest vertical, more than me and you. So like, I can't jump 36, but a flea can. And when I heard this story, I was like, that was me. Because if you put a flea in a jar, even if a flea has babies and there's more and more fleas, like, they become like their environment. And 2 years ago, I had spent over half of my life in the industry of direct sales. I had big dreams and goals. I knew the difference in a passion and a gift. Like, my passion is saving people. Like, obviously, my passion is taking the underdog and helping them. I don't know how else to say that. Even last night, I got a text and I was like, oh my gosh, that just fills my heart. Doesn't make me any money, but it feels my heart, right? Like, so my passion is probably having fun and helping people. But my gift is talking. I can take a message and regurgitate it and move people. I don't even know. It's not me, it's God, because God put the gift in me, right? So when I hear something, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I get this in your head, right? So 2 years ago, every time I tried to do that, it was like a thoroughbred trying to run with a bit in its mouth being pulled back. Every time I had an idea, dumb idea. Every time I had a decision, I don't know about that. I remember wanting to share the true, authentic story of my daughter and her struggle with addiction and recovery with a friend and a partner that had a similar story. We could change the world together. And I remember having the conversation, like, I know you want to do that, but that is my past. That is not anything I ever want to talk about. Completely respect that. Love that. But what am I supposed to do with my future? What am I supposed to do? I kept praying about it. I kept thinking about it. Had no idea the adversity that would come in front of Dave and I. But I want to tell you guys something. We walked in faith. We believed if God can do it for that company, he can do it for this company. If God can do it for that networker, he can do it for this networker. Like, Dave flunked English, and I wrote the paper with him that the English teacher flunked. And he was in college, and I was like, quit. Why are you going to let some dumb, stupid English professor tell you that you're stupid? Like, let's just go make money. True story. And I remember his mom being like, Dave, why are you quitting college? And I was like, because we don't need college. And I remember the debate back and forth, right? Nobody in my family ever graduated college until Callie, my youngest. And every single sibling of mine is a six-figure earner, some of them 7, and they don't do network marketing like I do. Do you know why? Because if God can do it for other people, he can do it for them. And if God can do it for them, he can do it for you. Here's the thing. They're soaring with their strengths and their gifts. Every sibling I have is different. One is introverted. One is creative. One was learning disabled in the special trailer across from the kids in the school. Stuttered because he was always with my grandpa. Couldn't even say Barbara. He said Bartala. Bartala. He would be running through the house. Bartala, Bartala, Bartala. Everyone laughing at him. He crushes it. He has multi-million-dollar businesses, and his son is literally racing this weekend in the Chili Bowl with NASCAR racers. You want to know why? Because we took his dream and we took his gifts. And even when I had a single mom, Dave was like, we'll pay to get them to the races. Let's put our name on their dirt track car. Let's get them in the stock car races. I'll tell you what, they don't think they can win. How about I put them on a plane and take them to Bristol, and Bristol night race. I didn't get to go. Only the boys went. But Dave took them there. They got autographs. They met Tony Stewart. They met the top race car drivers, and they got on a plane and they flew home that night. And we drove from the time they landed at I don't know what time, 3 hours to a race in Waukene, Kansas. And that night they both took first. How did that happen? Because your mind doesn't know the difference and what's imagined. Dave told a story this week when he was the wrestling coach. And Brooklyn said, never happened before, probably never going to happen again. But what Dave did, he laid them all on the mat every time they practiced and said, close your eyes and see yourself at state. See yourself with your arm getting raised. You beat your opponent. You are a champion. You are a winner. We usually had somebody qualify for state from our small town. But if you have 30 kids on the wrestling team, you have one that makes it to state. Sometimes they qualify. Sometimes they don't. We had 13 go to state, and we had 6 state champions. How? Because we got in their head. I didn't. I'm not athletically talented at all. Dave is. He is so good at helping people visualize and dream and see themselves beginning with the end in mind. You can't hang around people that are still. People that don't dream, still broke, still gossiping, still hating, still playing the victim card, still blaming everyone else for all of their failure. You've got to get up. Everything bad that ever happened to me, if my entire team was gone, and they were, I had no income. I had to say, God, what do you want me to do with my gifts? And that's different than what is my passion. Do you think my passion is being on Zoom 12 hours a day? Because it's not. It's definitely not my passion. It's what I do with my gifts to help people dream and believe it and take action and achieve it. So you've got to get clear. What are your gifts? What are your talents? What are you so good at? Because to live a life that you're not doing that is bad. Bad. You are going to be unhappy, miserable, people in cubicles, driving to work, hating their life. They got the mansion, they got the pension, they got the salary, they got the degree on the wall, but they hate their life every single day. Stop that, because you only got so much life left, right? So when I think about what is my gift, obviously it gets me in a lot of trouble because I've said things before that I probably shouldn't have said. And my life's been all jacked up. You know that Gretchen Wilson song, All Jacked Up? There was a time, still today, if you knew everything that happened in my family life in the past 6 months, you would be like, dude, they could definitely be on Jerry Springer. Callie always says, should we just start a live podcast? Nobody would believe it. Pitcocks, believe it or not. I don't know, because I don't know that we need to put it all out there, but I will guarantee you we'd be a lot more relatable. Because there are people that are making excuses why they can't succeed. And we have the same problems going on as they do. It's how we look at it. It's the action that we take. Your action is going to cure the fear. So getting rich is not going to be easy. Becoming successful is not going to be easy. Paying off all of your debts is not going to be easy, but you can absolutely do it. How you do it, I don't care. Just go do what you're good at. But I personally have to do it through network marketing. I have to do it with health and wellness products. It must be a mission to help people with their mental health because I know who I was and I know who I am today. You see, Les Brown was on that stage in 1996, and Dave Pitcock's name was in the newspaper for a bounced check and a bankruptcy, $350,000 in debt in a small town of 2,000 people. Not fun, not cool. Oh, it was worse than that. It was worse than that. Dave's brother was struggling with addiction. He had been in trouble. He had been on national news. And Dave's mom and dad had dealt with this. Dave's dad was newly married to a girl that Dave graduated with. We were good friends with. Dave's dad was struggling with alcoholism. Praise God, 22 years sober, turned his complete life around. They are happy and healthy, and it's amazing. But during that 1993 to 1996 era, guys, it was low. Like, it was so low, coming back from a bad reputation, a financial failure. And Les Brown was on the stage, but I was in the nosebleed section because let's face it, when you're bankrupt and you go to convention, you use your mom's car, you borrow someone's credit card. We slept in a room with a friend that could afford to be there, and they were in our downline. But he was on the stage. And I remember a speech. I want you guys to go look it up and listen to it because he's better at it than I am, and I'm not going to steal his stuff. But it's not over until I win. And I remember tears streaming down my face. I remember thinking, I don't know if this can happen for me and Dave. And I remember being at that event in a bankruptcy and going on a pontoon with my upline. I remember going to Charlotte, North Carolina, and looking at the mansions of all the NASCAR drivers. I remember standing by the yellow Ferrari or Corvette like I didn't even want this, right? Like, if I drove that in my town, people would have thought I was a drug dealer. Like, there was no way I could buy a car like that in Russell, Kansas. But Dave wanted a truck, a dually truck, to get to the rodeos, right? And I kind of thought a Q45 Infiniti would be cool. This was us with our upline looking at the lake house. That was the most far-fetched dream from my life. I couldn't even buy a starter home. We were renting. But guess what? That dream was in my heart. And my God is in the dreams come true business. And guess what I did? I don't care what you call God. Don't let me offend you. I know we have all walks of life in our company. I completely respect whatever your beliefs are, but I can't talk about this and not tell you about my God. What he did literally just completely took our big dreams, because he is a big God, and he just said, I don't care what happens. It's not over until you win. And Les Brown put that dream in my heart. And it was 2006. I took all of the story, wrote it down. This book is so outdated. It literally ends in 2001. The story ends in 2001. I'm on a stage, $1 million earner, past all the rich people, past all the people I thought were better than me, past them all. Dave and I were number one. And the next year, the company went bankrupt. True freaking story. But do you know what? 5 years later, I took all the journals. I took the journal of the bankruptcy. I took the journal of the busted up bull rider. I took the journal of Dave and I getting married with his brother by our side, and then the horrible chapter of losing him to suicide, addiction, mental health. I took the stories of watching our moms struggle as single moms. I took all the stories unedited and just published them all. Now, when you read this book, it's pretty outdated because I was in this company that was like a 4x7 force matrix. And back then I was all about the money. So when you read it, you might be like, dang, all she talks about is a business. Today, my world is so much different. 23 years later, it's about finding a product that can help people with their mind. It's about a mission and a movement, building centers all over the world for moms like me that have a broken heart, but don't know what to do to help someone they love who is mentally struggling or has addiction or bipolar or manic or depression. And you know what? in the midst of all of that, I showed up at an event to speak for my mentor, who helped me publish this book and later went to prison for tax fraud. So it's just crazy how the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs. Here's the thing. God forgives everything. He doesn't even care. All the people want to be talking. I got so many people hating on me. Here's what I know. My God is an awesome God. He put a dream in my heart. He put Les Brown on the stage. I followed that dream. I knew that I could if I would just take action. Action would cure the fear. And in 2007, when I published this book, and I told the story of sitting in the stands and watching my mentor on stage, who I had never met, he was backstage. He was backstage at the event to surprise Dave and I and spoke. And that was the night this book went crazy. Here's what I want to tell you. What are the odds that Les Brown would write the foreword to my book when I was the girl in the nosebleed section in a bankruptcy with no car to get to convention and no credibility and my name in the paper and no friends and no people? Like, there's not even an airport for 3 or 4 hours. Like, come on, what is your excuse? That's my question. What is your excuse? This morning I woke up, I just started praying. I literally just started praying. There's so much good happening. There's so much good happening. You've got to wake up every day and say, there's so much good happening in my life. Even when your heart is broken, even when your child is struggling, even when your account is empty, even when your friend is undergoing a surgery. And I literally woke up to Dave today and I said, I know I can't have fear. Like, why do we have fear? When you feel uneasy and you have fear, you just got to armor up. You got to armor up and know that God is going to bless whatever is of him. And he is in the business of forgiveness. He's in the business of clean slate. He's in the business of blessing your checking account. He's in the business of helping you find the right property, the prospect, the customer. Oh, for the rest of my life. And some people aren't going to like this, but he is going to be the root of every single thing that I do. And when I made him the root of a dream 2 years ago on this day, yesterday, Dave and I were comfy. Like, we were just getting dividends at the end of the year, had a business that was doing pretty good. Every year I would buy a new house. I would be like, we need a tax write-off. Bought 4 houses in 4 years. Like, maybe we'll get in the Airbnb business. Like, we were making a ton of money. We had a lucrative company. We had a great product. We had a good thing going. I was struggling with some toxic relationships. And here's one thing that I have learned in my 30-year career. No amount of talent and no amount of money will fix toxic, because it's always going to start at the root. And eventually you're building on a foundation that is either going to be solid or it's not. So I don't tolerate gossip. I don't tolerate mean people. I don't tolerate drama. I don't tolerate people that want to judge other people. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But what I do know, nothing's going to stop something God built. And until you are focused on that, what gifts he gave you, what talents you have, what you know you could go do with zero fear. From the day we decided to begin again, I said, if God be for us, who dare be against us, we are going to pass everyone. We are going to change more people's lives, help more people become financially free, help more people get healthy, help more people be in healthy relationships, help more people get back up. And last night, my daughter, Brooklyn, I wish she was on here with me. I keep telling her, like, we need to do this. And you know what Brooklyn said last night? She's like, Mom, you shared the story. Like, we've prayed and prayed and prayed, and now Brooklyn is home. She's like, but you never share the story. Like, this is not easy. This is not perfect. Everything's not just good, right? And I think authenticity is the highest vibration we're all ever going to have. And people are so afraid to be authentic. You know what? You're fighting a battle nobody knows about. I'm fighting a battle that nobody knows about. But here's one thing I know. The victory is already won. The victory is already won. God knows how the story ends. He knew it before I was born. He knew it the day I was born. He actually knew I was going to grow up with a single mom. He was going to let me be completely broken. He was going to help me heal. And as long as I would walk with him, he would take me in the right direction. From a bad relationship to David Pitcock, from a bankrupt bull rider and a beautician to the top of a company. Watching the company fail, watching the company go away so that I could learn what to do and what not to do. Because with great success comes great responsibility. And today the test is, if I'm going to bless you in this way, what are you going to do with your time? What are you going to do with your talent? What are you going to do with your treasures? And the most important thing, what are you going to do about that message of what I've done in your life? And I'm telling you guys, God has done so many miracles in my life. I am so humbled, it's almost scary. What is happening in our business, the success, the products, the connections, the patents, the clinical studies, the people that are lining up, so much bigger than I ever dreamed. And the friends and mentors that have helped me along the way. I look at this picture of Dave and his mom at a convention at the height of our success. Thinking of her that year, burying her son while her other son was at the top of a company, burying her husband 10 days later, and somehow we found a way to show back up. I think about this past couple of years, and yesterday when that memory popped up, Dave and I were in Germany. I'll never forget that morning we woke up. He's like, do you think we should just give up all of our ownership and responsibilities there so that we can focus, grieving the loss of his mom, properties we had bought, a child struggling with addiction. This is before Brooklyn had the fentanyl overdose. We were just really struggling. I had shingles all over my body and my hair. I had pneumonia. I had a breathing machine. I was getting steroid shots, had influenza A. I don't even know how I spoke at the funeral. It was crazy. Somehow I was the only one that could get up, and I was the sickest person in the room. And I got through a talk without coughing. I don't know. It was a miracle. But I remember that day thinking, I'm going to make this lady so proud. And I'm going to take that story of her struggle with sickness. And I will say this, and I know if she was here, she would agree. Stress was the silent killer. Stress in your life, things that are not in alignment, low vibrational emotions, attacking every organ in your body every single day. And you just keep feeding the stress and the emotions. Life is 10% what happens to you. It's 90% how you react, the environment you're in, and the people that you are in alignment with. And I'm telling you guys, if there's anything I could tell you today, fear is the producer of most failure. Action is going to cure the fear. You've got to get in the right room with the right people. All you got to do these days. You can open a book. You can listen to an audio cassette. You can find it all for free. You can watch No Guts, No Story. I hope I can just get in your head. I remember everyone that loved us trying to save us. Oh my gosh, what are Dave and Barb doing? They can't even pay their bills. Now they spend $1,000 to follow a con artist. Everybody wanted to save us because they were all the fleas in the jar with the lid. And Dave and I knew we had a 36-inch jump. But do you know the only way we knew we had that jump was because somebody like Les Brown that I didn't even know got in my head and said, it's not over until you win. And then he became a friend. Someone that I didn't even know encouraged me more than some of the people that loved me the most. And you've got to get in a new environment with new people, get new dreams, get a big vision that you can't live with yourself if you don't get it. Guys, last night, my daughter Brooklyn came upstairs and she said, no, she sent it to me in a text. And there is a kid that I took to treatment 3 times. in the last 3 years, and he left every time. There is a kid that I believed in when the whole town said, you need to get him away from your house. There is a kid that Dave and I put on a Greyhound bus to try and save him from suicide, overdose, and addiction, and is the same kid that was living homelessly in a lot next to one of our properties and literally had frostbite on his body in January a year ago. This kid, everyone, washed up loser, been to prison twice, been to jail, homeless, steals, lies, gets high. Why would you ever let him in your house? Last night, Brooklyn got a text and it said, I'm living in a sober home living house. I got nominated to be the chairman, not just of this, but of all of this chapter in the United States. They're sending me to Washington, D.C. to speak at the convention. I'm currently working nights at Taco Bell, but I'm saving money to start my own business. I have a 1-year plan. I'm helping so many people, Brooklyn. I'm so proud of you and where you're at. Can you believe where you and I were just a year ago? And you guys, I went to bed last night with so much hope. If God can do it for Oprah Winfrey, he can do it for me. If God can do it for Steve Harvey, he can do it for you. If God can do it for Donald Trump or Barack Obama or whoever it is that you think is right. Like, if God can do it for them, why not you? The difference in so many people in the world and me and you is those people got back up when everybody else said they were all washed up, 4-time loser, don't trust them. Nobody can put a label on you when you have a championship bloodline. Like, nobody can put a label on you because you were born with a purpose. And so many of us have given up. I just want you to know, I could have given up. I would be poor, pathetic, penniless, cutting hair all day, dropping my kids off at daycare. Who knows where my kids would have ended up? Like, as hard as I worked being a stay-home mom, being here every day to sow seeds in them of personal development and growth, and the people they met backstage from Jim Rohn to Les Brown, who knows what they're going to do in this world? But do you know what? They had to have the adversity in order to develop the strength, because people with no problems are going to be weak. You get your strength when you become an overcomer, when you keep getting back up, when you keep doing it. There's no way I could run a company today doing millions of dollars in sales, attracting the greatest leaders in the industry, creating products that are completely changing a brand new category. There is no way I could do that had I not been the little broke girl in a company with big dreams and goals, and the company failing over and over again. You learn your wisdom from failure. And I have a big sign in my office from Winston Churchill that says something about enthusiasm is going from, no, it's like success or character or something. Now I'm going to butcher this up. Is going from failure to failure to failure without ever losing enthusiasm. You guys, fail forward, get back up. Let's go conquer our dreams and goals with so much tenacity, perseverance, vision. Prayer is the answer. Like, I couldn't do anything I do without that. And when you just say, God, I need help, and you focus on your talents and your gifts instead of just your passion, because I might be passionate about singing. I love a good Keith Urban song in the kitchen, cranked up to 10, but I suck at singing. And if I was trying to make a living and change people's lives at singing, y'all would be in trouble. Even if I loved it, it's not what I should do. So there is a big difference in what you're passionate about and what your gift is. I'm passionate about helping people with mental health, addiction, recovery. I'm not good at it because I've never been an addict. I'm not good at it because I've been a codependent mom. I'm not good at that. That is my passion. My gift is speaking and changing people's lives. And I will use that gift to create a movement, a mission that will be so big, I can find the experts to pursue the passion and the purpose. And I want to encourage you to define those two things. What are your gifts and talents, and what is your passion? And I hope you can't even sleep tonight, because if you do, I didn't do my job. But I got to jump off here and get on our corporate Zoom. I love you guys. I know I'm ending a little bit early this week, but if you need help, if you need direction, if something stirred up in you and you're like, what should I read? What should I listen to? What should I do? Define your dream, get a burning desire for its achievement, and quit settling. Quit settling, doing things you don't like for the money. 2 years ago, when I walked away from the money, I'm not going to lie, it was scary. I remember Callie looking at me being like, did you counsel with anyone before you did this? And Chance's like, you did what? You didn't get $1 million or any, like you did what? What are you and dad going to do? And we were like, I don't know, but we know we're going to do something. And you guys, we had a 90-day plan to launch and go crazy. And God put the brakes on that and said, I'm going to break you into 1 million pieces. And so you can figure out how to put them all back together again. And then it was a brand new product focus. It was a brand new story. It was things I never thought I would share publicly. And you know what? That authenticity was such a high vibration. The blessings just came out of nowhere. People I never met in my life, people I've never worked with, customers coming in groves, because nothing will ever stop something that God built. But nothing will ever be solid and long-term legacy if you don't start with that. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. If you got something out of this, please share this live. I do this free every Saturday morning because it is my passion. I love doing this. But let me tell you something. This does not pay my bills. It does not fuel the things that I really want to build. It's just something that I love. So it's free for you. I hope you got a ton of value, and I hope you'll share it with everyone you love. Have a good day, everyone.